Before most processed food products end up on the grocery store shelf, a lot of testing has been done to ensure that that product is going to be safe and acceptable to the consumer. A very important part of that testing involves doing blind taste tests with actual consumers. Dr. Wes Schilling heads up the Garrison Sensory Evaluation Laboratory at Mississippi State.
We do consumer panels where if a company wants to have us evaluate their product, they might be adding a different ingredient, trying to make it cheaper, just trying to make it better quality, and we'll test it and evaluate it against the status quo, what they've already got out there, and see if it's different in acceptability, more acceptable, less acceptable, and be able to answer that question for them.
Panelists are given samples in a random order with 3-digit codes so they won't know what treatments are being sampled. Then they rate the samples on how acceptable they are for appearance, aroma, flavor, texture, and overall acceptability.
It's all on computer, and they answer the questions about how acceptable it is, and it gives the data right into Microsoft Excel, so it's easy for us to analyze.
The tests being performed today involve the acceptability of sausage products that you'd find in a grocery store.
The first thing we're going to do is have consumers evaluate the color. So they're going to look at the raw appearance of it to see how acceptable it is and which one do they prefer just based on the raw color. And then we're going to have them come in and taste the samples with the blind random 3-digit numbers where they'll rate the acceptability of the appearance, aroma, flavor, texture of the cooked product.
The lab evaluates how different types of packaging impacted the acceptability of the raw appearance and the overall eating experience of the sausage.
So they give you your samples and you have a handful of options. This one happened to be 4 options, and you rate it in appearance, aroma, texture, and taste, and then overall. And so you just decide which one you like best and why, and then you rank them, and so then they go through and fill out the results.
The overall goal of this is to use packaging to extend the shelf life. Because right now you could take sausage, and if you think about the lights in the grocery store, it can lead to oxidation, which is making the meat not taste quite so good, kind of fishy-like flavors, after about 7 days under lights. So if you have some sort of packaging that could prevent that, you could have packaging that might go much longer, up to weeks, if not more than a month. So the idea is, yeah, there's packaging like that out there, but we're trying to find out if it's cost effective, also want to know, does it impact the acceptability?
I think that appearance is more important because if you don't like the appearance, you're probably not going to buy it to even taste it. So in my opinion, I would look at appearance first and then taste. But taste is probably ultimately more important in the end, because if it doesn't taste good, they're not going to come back and repurchase it.
After the consumer panelist evaluations, a group of trained panelists perform descriptive tests to analyze specific qualities of the products.
Does it have more of a oxidized flavor? Is it more tender? Is it more juicy? So we can actually characterize what are the descriptors and relate that to acceptability by consumers.
Other types of sensory tests that have been done at the lab are the difference in taste and acceptability of grass-fed beef versus grain-fed beef, and how different oxygen levels in catfish ponds affect the taste and quality of catfish to the consumer. This type of information allows farmers producing the raw product to adjust their production practices to conform to consumer preferences. The value of this sensory lab is evident for companies that need information about their products, but it's also valuable to the grad students working there.
It's just a great experience for students at Mississippi State because, I mean, when they go out and they work in the food industry, it doesn't matter how cheap they can make it or how safe it is. If people don't like it, it's never really going to go. So just to be able to have the experience and to be able to understand how to do the testing, to me, is a really, really great thing. Most food science departments would have a sensory lab. Most do not have one this nice, so we're very fortunate, blessed to be able to have this, because there's probably 3 or 4 in the country that have something standalone like this this nice. So it really gives us an opportunity to meet the needs of our stakeholders, different businesses in Mississippi plus beyond, and good education for our graduate students.